So very good evening to one and all. On behalf of West Bengal Academy of Pediatrics, I, Dr. Mihish Sarkar, welcome you all in this innovative program that is the Listening from the Legends. So today, this is the one of the uh, various academic activity. This is the most prime academic activity of West Bengal Academy of Pediatrics. Today, we are very lucky and very fortunate to have legendary Professor Dr. Arun Kumar Singh with us. So I shall request Dr. Professor Swapon Kumar Roy, the President of West Bengal Academy of Pediatrics, to welcome our esteemed speaker and welcome the other dignitaries.
So very good evening, all. And today we are lucky to have Professor Arun Kumar Singh to deliver the first lecture of Listen to the Legends. It's the gesture of West Bengal Academy of Pediatrics to pay some honor uh, to the legends in the pediatrics. So we have with us Professor Kaustav Naik and President-elect Dr. Kripashendu Chatterjee. I'll request Professor Kaustav Naik to say a few words before starting, and because everybody is eager to listen to Professor Arun Kumar Singh only. So over to you, Kaustav Da.
Oh, thank you, Sapon. Good evening. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yes,
sir, you're audible.
So whatever I say, that may be very minimum for Professor Arun Singh, because I know many things about him. Both of us are now working under Institute of Health and Family Welfare. So he is a true legend. And he is father of Purulia model of SNCU. And now that model is being followed throughout India. And by following SNCU, Purulia model, the mortality, infant mortality has been reduced to a great extent. And he is true visionary. He has many visions. And both of us shared, he has told me about his visions. One is perinatal conception, because we know mother and fetus is a single unit. And we used to see babies after birth, but so many things happens before birth. So if we don't know those things, what happened inside the uterus, it will be very difficult to assess the newborn after birth and to take adequate measures. So the concept of perinatal physiology is very much important. Already we have started working on this, establishing perinatal unit in SSKM, and we both of us visited there. And I think Professor Arun Singh has given us the requirements, and I think it will be very easy to complete all those things within 3 to 6 months. And after that, we will have full-fledged perinatal department. And so I think it is our duty to see that his visions are materialized before he leaves the service. So it is my earnest request to everybody and also to government to see that his visions are being materialized in West Bengal and followed by throughout India. Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Naik, for your kind words.
Yes.
Now I'll request our President-elect Dr. Kripashendu Chatterjee to say just a few words before we start the program. Unmute karo, Kripa. To unmute. The team, please unmute Dr. Kripashendu Chatterjee. Team, please unmute Dr. Kripashendu Chatterjee.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Swapanda. I was not allowed to unmute actually.
Yeah. I know.
So, to introduce Professor Arun Singh is not, it's beyond my capacity. Only I think I can tell that I have got a long-term mental relationship with him. May not be, I was acquainted with him physically for longer period of time. I still remember during Professor Navendu Chaudhary's era, he came to Bardhaman and just delivered a mesmerizing speech. I still remember that. And that is more than 15 years long back. So I'm ardent student of you, sir. Nobody is waiting to listen to me. Please, I'm also waiting to listen to you. Let me get some knowledge out of you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Professor
So,
Chatterjee, for your kind words. Now, I'll request Professor Dr. Arun Kumar Singh to deliver his lecture. But before that, I just want to introduce, for sake of the younger ones who have logged in the audience, about Professor Arun Kumar Singh. Dr. Arun Kumar Singh is a prominent figure in the field of neonatology, perinatology, public health. He is the innovator, academician, a philosopher actually, and a teacher. Currently serving as a professor at Institute of Health and Family Welfare, Government of West Bengal. In recent past, not only did he serve as the head of the Department of Neonatology, AIMS, Jodhpur, but in a short span was instrumental in making it a center of excellence in the field of neonatology. His DM students and his patients have witnessed a number of new innovation implemented in the field. He is always innovative. With an extensive career of last over 4 decades, he has published over 60 international and 50 national papers. Dr. Singh is renowned for his pioneering work in developing the SNCU, the Sikh Neonatal Care Unit concept, which has been adopted in 800 districts across India. He is also credited with the designing modern labor room and the human management lactation centers all over the country. And previously, Dr. Singh held the position of the head of the neonatology at our own IPGMER, that is a PG Hospital, Kolkata, and served as the founder and the chief technical advisor of the RBSK. His expertise extend to technical advisory role in multiple states, including Madhya Pradesh, Bihar, Telangana, and Hyderabad, and esteemed international guest faculty members at the University of the Oslo. He has authored the influential book 1000 Days and has contributed over 30 teaching manuals on pediatrics for the government of India, including single-handedly designing the field section, a child section of the current MCP card. And actually, Professor Arun Singh is my true mentor, and he has got some vision, and he dreams, and he infuses and inculcates in me. So without any delay, sir, the screen is yours. So we are eager to listen to you.
Thank you for your kind words, Dr. Shapan, for the wonderful introduction from Dr. Kaustubh Naik, who is also our colleague. So first, let me put a clarification that we are belonging the same team. No one is senior, no one is junior. The baton has to keep on passing. I remember I got the baton from Professor Amitav Sen. He is no more, but we still remember him. A lot of this work, it was his inspiration. And though when he was my teacher, I didn't understand him. But as we started working together, I understood that India lost a person with so much of devotion, honesty, understanding that I have not seen in my span across this country. So with respect to one and all, and also to say that this is not my dream. This is the dream of all the mothers. So we are doctors, but at the end, we will be judged by our patients. Which post we occupy is not important. The important is, are the people getting benefited? So just for the sake of everyone's understanding, suppose there is a couple which just got married today, and is the next milestone will be to have a child. Now this couple wants an assurance, not of a live birth, not of a child who would cry after birth, but an assurance that my child, he will hold its hand from preconception till my child is 6 years old. Why 6 years old? That is the time when he will go to the school. That is the time when 90% of the brain is already formed. That is the school entry point. Lot of diseases will get manifested later on, but before the age of 6, like autism, which is a big problem today, like ADHD. So a lot of things are happening. A mother's dream is not only to produce a live birth. A mother's dream is to have a child which will do better than her own. So, keeping that in mind, my definition of perinatal is someone like an umbrella who would hold the hand against all storms, against all rains, from the preconception period till the age of 6 years, that is. And we should try to see the child at the age of 6. And irrespective of our boundaries, our obstetrician colleagues can see, oh, this child at 6 years did well, this did not do well, what we could have done to support it. This is a dream. And this dream only India can realize. And since West Bengal has been pioneer in everything, including the very famous boson particle, so I request to all of you that whether you like my talk or not, but think about that mother and what can we give to that mother. So today's topic is perinatal. Now, this peri words come from perimetry, that means surrounding, and natal is birth. So, my diameter of perinatal starts from preconception to 6 years of age. So, the entire period of cognition. Why cognition is so important? Because if I would ask a giraffe, mother giraffe, that what is your wish list? She would say, let my child be as tall as I am, that is 22 feet. If I would ask a mother elephant, what is your wish? She would say, let my child have the same weight as I have, and that is 6,000 kilos. If I ask a peacock, mother, what is your wish for your child? She would say, he should have the same colorful, which can mesmerize the people. But if I ask a human mother, what will she say? She will say, I'm not worried about the height. I'm not worried about the color of the skin. I'm not worried about the weight. I'm worried about the weight of the brain, the height of the brain, and the beauty of the brain. My child should do better than me cognitively. Whether that intelligence does not always means mathematical intelligence or to become a doctor. Nowadays, we know that there are multiple intelligence. Someone can become a good dancer, someone can become a good musician. All these are intelligence. Someone can have very good interpersonal relationship. Someone could have intrapersonal relationship. Someone could be a naturalistic. Someone could be a mathematician, a logical person. So all kinds of intelligence is there, depending upon how the child frames. So this whole talk is devoted and dedicated to all of you who would be holding the hands of these mothers. With this, interventions, how can we improve the newborn cognition? Can we enhance the IQ of the baby? Is it a myth? When I was a student, we used to be talked of two things, nature and nurture. So nature was genes and nurture was what we did. But today, let me tell you, the environment is far bigger, nurture is far bigger, because a new topic has come, which is known as epigenetics. That means without changing the genes, the activity of the genes, the gene to express themselves, because there are two processes of the genetic advancement. One is transcription, so that the DNA opens up and forms the messenger RNA, and then the messenger RNA is translated to the protein. So this entire process goes on. Life starts from a single cell. Now, if the genes expressing is different, there are certain foods which are epigenetics, there are certain environment which is epigenetics. And let me tell you, the modern civilization is not understanding that the expression of the genes are getting affected. I think we have to share this knowledge with all of us and for them. So what can we do for the preconception clinic care? So you can share with your colleagues and break the boundaries that this is a job of the obstetrician. It is a job of all of us. So we just, as Vivekanand said, that in the West, the birth of a child is an accident. Suddenly the mother comes to know, oh, I'm pregnant. In the East, it is a prayer. So the birth of a child is a prayer of the mother, that the child, mother is praying that my child should do better than me. And so it is a planned. So my first word is planning a pregnancy. And at least three things, if nothing. Today, if someone gets married, just share these three things, that before you conceive, both the couple should consider three things: get your blood pressure checked, get your blood sugar checked, get your thyroid checked, and please see, are you prepared to have a child? Is your life routine good for having a child? Do you have the time to give it to your child? Please understand before you plan and bring in this child. The child comes through you but is not a part of you. You may hold their body but not their mind, for the mind belongs to God. So this is something which you can do, and you can see that where you are working, can you avoid pollutants? Can you avoid, have you been properly vaccinated? Especially now, Government of India is very clearly wants that rubella, CRS, congenital rubella syndrome should disappear. And this can happen. Toxoplasma, etc. If you have pet animals, you take care that we are not. If you are in the habit of any other uh, stress, stress can lead to infertility. Can you balance your diet? Can you balance your lifestyle? So all this could be done before it. You would say, why should I do it in preconception? I can do after conception. Problem is, by the time you understand the conception has come, it is already, most of the organogenesis has already been done. And then if you come to know you have high blood sugar, so even you are pregnant, that means you have missed the first period. So already 4 5 weeks gone, and that's a very critical period. Secondly, now if I have to treat, I have to be very careful of both the mother and the child, because how these drugs will interact with the fetus, that has to be understood. But if in the preconception stage, I'm trying to correct your blood sugar, your blood pressure, this would be much easier to do so. Now, I will take your time, something which all of us in the next few years are going to face. You have seen winter in Calcutta, was not that cold, but the whole country and the whole world had a huge impact on heat. And I was trying to do some work on this heat. And you know that there's external heat and there's internal heat. Now, these poor mothers who cook, especially during the first trimester, you may see that the heat directly goes to the belly. Now, uh, I was sometimes some things happen in your life, you are not planned it and not connected to neonate, but frankly speaking, it comes back to you. So let me share a story with you which happened in the year 2019. So as you can see, the government of India nominated me as the team leader of a health team to go to Muzaffarpur with Dr. Shantan Banerjee for understanding what could be done. Already 100 children between the age of 2 years and 6 years had already died. This was in 2019. Previously, it was in 2014. So prior to that, 2012. And this was, so when I went there, 2 days before I went, there was a newspaper report from Indian Express showing that how eating lychees is causing killer brain disease in Muzaffarpur kids. The Hindu paper went into great details, as if they had understood all the science, how lychee toxin is causing the death of undernourished children in Muzaffarpur. All of you may think why I am relating to this. Just have some patience anyway. By the way, Muzaffarpur to me is the land of Khudiram Bose, where he was hanged. So he may not belong to Muzaffarpur, but he was hanged there. And so when I went, I was given this paper, which was published in Lancet in the year 2017, and it talked about a case control study. Um, and the authors were not only Government of India, but the CDC, Atlanta, the National Center for Environmental Health, US. And this was a 10-pager article in Lancet, which said that association of acute toxic encephalopathy, which is also known as AES, uh, was with lychee consumption. And after this article, globally, this was published in Lancet Global Health, globally, people stopped eating lychee. And so in 2019, I remember that people in Delhi in the ministry said, oh, you should not bring lychee anymore. It will cause death. It has got toxins. Now, when I went there, the health conditions were extremely poor. And first I understand, even if I don't understand why is AES happening, I can at least support these children and some of them will survive. So we built a 100-bedded ICU, which I designed. So a small ICU did come up with a team. In the meantime, I asked one of the team members to please collect the data from the meteorological department. What were the temperatures? So the top line is, as you can see, the red arrow is showing temperatures when it goes above 40 degrees. And the minimum temperature is black, the average is blue, and the highest temperature is brown. So in 2012, you could see the temperature went above the 40-degree mark, stayed for some time, came back. In 2013, it just touched and came back. In 2014, it stayed for a longer period of time. In 2015, there was a short duration, but it went above 50. 260 also short duration. 2017 just touched it. 18 didn't even touch. And 19 was a sustained. And so in that SKMC hospital at Muzaffarpur, which is incidentally a medical college, though with not very good resources, I tried to see how many children had died or were admitted there. And I found a very interesting thing. So you can see in 2012, when the temperature was above 40 degree, for some amount of time, the cases were 217. But when in 2013, it just touched for a very short time, there were 73. Whereas if you see the 2014, the temperature was above 40, though less than 2012, but was more sustained, and the cases were 311. And so, as you see the chart, again in 2019, when the temperature was sustained, the farmers told me that whenever it rains, these cases stop coming. But as I told you, the ministry was convinced and etc. And here I will just tell you, you don't need to be very intelligent. Medical science doesn't require extraordinary people. But medical science does require a dedication, which all of you can do. And please treat any paper not as a Bible, even if it is published in Lancet. Only science gives you the right to question. No one else gives you the right. So with these words, let me see what happened. And then for next 3 years, I was working there. While I was working in 2019, I did a muscle biopsy and sent it to Nimhans. To the people there were very nice. They did an electron microscopy and they showed that the mitochondria was extremely swollen. And then we found that the respiratory chain enzyme SA complex 1 was also very low. Now remember, in this entire Lancet paper, they showed there's hypoglycemia, but they did not see for ketones. So please remember, whenever you see hypoglycemia, please also do the ketones, because there can be two cases. One is hypoglycemia with hyperketosis or ketonemia, and there can be hypoglycemia with hypoketonemia, and the etiology can be very different. So when we did the ketone bodies in 2019, it was very high. which certainly surprised me. The other thing is they found lychee in the some toxins in the lychee, but through the children's urine. But the control arm should have been those children who consumed lychee but did not have AES. Instead of that, they took a group of children who were admitted and had got some other problem, and they never had eaten lychee. So the mere presence of a toxin does not show that the toxin is causing it. You have to be showing the lethal dose, and that was never addressed there. So when I published my first paper in Journal of Tropical Pediatrics 2022, is ambient weather a risk factor for acute encephalopathy outbreaks in children in Muzaffarpur? Insight from a 9-year analysis. Now, this article did not bring much water. People continued to say, oh, but then how does heat cause it? You have not shown it. You have just said, so heat is at Jodhpur also. Heat is at other places. Why Muzaffarpur? Incidentally, Muzaffarpur produces the best lychee, which is known as the Shahi lychee, and that area drains, apart from Ganges, another river, which is known as Budi Gandak. So the humidity is very high. And the children who are living in these areas, they live in, instead of thatched roof, now they have asbestos roof, and they have walls which are made of bricks. Now this becomes overheated. So when we put a sensor for 2 years with IIT Delhi in everyone's house, we did find that the inside temperature of the house was more. So we started studying the CPK and LDH of the children before heat, during heat, and after heat. And we also did the tandem mass spectrometry and the GCMS. So we produced the second paper, which was acute encephalopathy in children from Muzaffarpur, and we just said potential low. But the clinching evidence came from the third paper, which incidentally is now internationally being referred to as International Journal of Biometrology, where we actually extracted the mitochondria, and with the help of the Delhi Genomic Institute, we took about 100 children, and during preheat, heat, and post-heat, and the mitochondria could be taken from the peripheral blood. That was new technique, but it had to be cultured within 24 hours. So that was quite an entity, and we studied the mitochondria during pre-summer, peak of summer, and post-summer for mitochondrial membrane potential, mitochondrial cellular death, and all kinds of mitochondrial activities. And we also tried to isolate the DNA and the RNA separately. And what we found was that whenever the temperature was high, the mitochondrial functioning almost stopped. So instead of an aerobic respiration where one molecule of glucose would produce 38 ATP, it was only producing 2 ATPs. Now, when I was born in Calcutta, and my father used to say, see, in Calcutta, during the lunch hours, everything stops. The shops close, people go to sleep. So my father's opinion was that because they are a lazy people. But today I can tell you that the similar thing happens in Italy, which is known as siesta. So because of this extra heat, the mitochondria transiently undergo dysfunction, especially if the heat is above your head without a headgear. And so if you sleep that time, the ATPs which are produced by the mitochondria are not consumed by your muscle mass. So there's enough ATP for your brain. So these children were playing, and they were exposed to heat both during the day and also during the night. Now, interesting observation came, and I remember asking to almost all the biochemists within this country I could talk to, that I found in the tandem mass spectrometry that during the preheat, citrulline was normal. But just during the peak heat, May and June, the citrulline was rising. And then again, it came down during December. I didn't understand. And then I happened to get a paper which was in mouses, and this was in 2022, that L-citrulline prevents heat-induced mitochondrial dysfunction, L cell injury, through nitric oxide mediated DRPI inhibition in mouse. Now, no such study has been done in human beings. And I was surprised that the watermelon which you eat during the summer months is actually known as Citrullus lanatus. That means our ancestors may not have done the tender mass spectrometry, but somehow they realized that during heat, when your mitochondrial dysfunction starts, eating a watermelon in the peak of the summer protects you. Now, interesting thing was that I found that there is no fruit in this world which doesn't contain a toxin, whether it is the apple, which contains the amygdalin, where it is pears, which contains formaldehyde, where it is potatoes, which contains solanine, and even the cucumber, which contains the cucumber and E. So just because a chemical is present does not mean that it is harmful. Now, what happened after this? So by the time the same Indian Express, where the frontline news was how eating lychees is causing killer brain disease in Muzaffarpur kids, the headlines change. Heat, not lychee, spiked encephalitis deaths in Bihar. But as you know, English newspapers, they don't have much cutting across. And the farmers, they faced a huge crisis. So then the farmers contacted me, they invited me, and they invited the Hindi press. And thereafter, this was lychee. This is 26/12/2023. लीची टॉक्सिन से नहीं गर्मी से मेटाबॉलिज्म पर असर से एईएस नए शोध ने पुराने को नकारा कहा एईएस लीची की टॉक्सिन से नहीं गर्मी से खूब खाइए लीची विभाग बताएगा कि लीची खाने से फॉर योर everyone's information 36,000 hectare of lychee is grown in Muzaffarpur. Now, I was very surprised. And all of you should remember that I thought I'll be invited by the governments, I'll be invited by the Bihar government, the central government. Oh, you saved so much of lychee. Unfortunately, no one invites you. It's only the farmer's land was saved, and this is the only encouragement, only reward you have to get. So, as doctors, don't think you'll always get a reward from your colleagues or from the politicians or the bureaucrats. The only reward you have is that this work saved the land for which the young Khudiram Bosu had died. He was hanged, and at least I thought that though I don't belong to Muzaffarpur, this is there. I was just searching, and this is a very casual thing. Times of India 2010, much before. This line is very, very interesting. Though, as a scientist, I cannot claim any relationship to what has been published. But still, I would like to share. May 12, 2010, Times of India writes, lychee growers to reap rich harvest. The lychee growers of Muzaffarpur and Vaishali are going to have a good time following reports that Vijay Mallya, United Breweries, which is a liquor company, is out to manufacture wine from lychee grown in these two districts of the state. And then you have another report of World Bank helping it. But my question is, I can't cast aspirations, I have no proof, but it was a mere coincidence that this was published in 2010 and thereafter. Because if you see that if lychee is not eaten by children at a very cheap price, it will be fermented to make wine. Now, why did I tell you this? How this is related to perinatology? Now, while I was doing this, suddenly I realized that when a mother is pregnant with a girl child, not with a boy child, she's not only pregnant with her girl child, she's also pregnant with a great grandchild, because all the eggs of a girl are formed when she is in the mother's womb, not after the birth. And very interestingly, all mammalians' mitochondria is thought to be strictly maternally inherited. The sperm mitochondria disappears at early embryogenesis by selective destruction, inactivation, or simple dilution by the vast surplus of oocyte mitochondria. So nuclear DNA, we inherit both parents, but the mitochondrial DNA is always inherited from the mother. Now imagine this egg has to survive till her adolescent and till her even beyond. Now, this egg to survive must require very efficient mitochondrial DNA. Now, I was just going to share with you that no work has been done, but there is some lean, some area, because I thought that if the children's mitochondria could be affected by heat, why couldn't it affect the mitochondria of also the zygote? And very interestingly, I got two papers. One was from environmental health perspectives, taking the heat, potential fetal effects of hot temperature. And it talks about that exposure to periods of extreme heat has been linked to a variety of adverse health outcomes in the fetuses, including cardiovascular disease, respiratory disease, kidney disease, and mental illness. Several epidemiological studies over the past 5 years have reported association between high temperature and adverse pregnancy outcome, including preterm birth, stillbirth, low birth weight, as well as congenital heart defects. So there's another CDC report, clinical overview of heat and pregnancy. There's another paper where they found in America, very big paper, where they found an association between those who conceived during the summer months, the first trimester in the summer months, rather than those who conceived in the winter months. There were more congenital heart disease. But no one has looked into the mitochondria. So I think that if some of you are interested, as uh, my mitochondria is getting old, but some of you are pretty young. And so please take the opportunity of try to see. And this could result in that at least pregnant mothers during the first trimester, they will not be exposed to heat, especially when they cook. Some kind of precaution can be taken. So these are some of the early leads. I do not know whether it will result or not, but this is how I'm connecting the lychee with the mitochondrial lychee. Now, today I'm going to also talk about the labor room designs, the physiological versus delayed cord clamping, the rational use of uterotonics, intact cord resuscitation, what is new in bag and mask resuscitation, ECG-based nutrition, mother NICU, plain NICU, MEIC, CLMC. I don't know whether I'll be able to do justice to all, but if you are all interested, I can again join with some of the things which are left over. So let's talk of the labor room design. Now, India, and when I was studying, the labor room looked more like a railway station, Howrah railway station, where some trains were made to stay outside, and some trains very quickly you had to get down and again climb up. So one room to second room. So I call this moving stages of labor, which created a lot of chaos. And you had to be quickly removed from the delivery table because another mother was to come to deliver. So very much a chaotic, like the railway station. So I said, can we change this? And then I found a wonderful paper. Nowadays, people talk of how to reduce the labor pain, and the design of a labor room can reduce the labor pain. So this paper showed a very interesting thing. It said when you are in dark, when you are walking, when you are taking a bath or you are immersed, your oxytocin, which is excreted from the posterior pituitary, is released, and it also stimulates the beta endorphin. But if there is fear, there's cold, there's stress, there's hunger, you are made to lie down, this will release more of adrenaline, which means there will be more of pain. And the darkness allows the melatonin to stimulate the oxytocin. With this, I thought, why not let me experiment this? So my first labor room in a tribal area close to Valsad district was this, where I allowed the mother to walk. There was a birth companion. There was complete privacy. There was no one to tell the mother, don't do this or that. The birth companion was helping. And the heart rate was being monitored by the birth companion through a fetal heart rate Doppler. And then I found very wonderful results. None of the mother was shouting during labor. No one had to say push, push, push. And if time permits, I'll show you some videos of that. So I call this delivery room a neurocognitive delivery room, where the baby's brain is there. Because even at AIIMS New Delhi, I I used to see that people shout, push, push, push. And Professor Meherban Singh used to say that the more they shout, the less was the chance of baby coming out. Perhaps he was getting frightened in which world I'm going to be born in. So this is the labor room design I have done in absolutely a poor area by collecting money from a giant trust. And they converted this. And the beauty is that the mother and the mother, baby, and the birth company, and all will be in one room. All the stages will be on one bed. The TV in front of them will be guiding what stage will come after what and what are the things you need to do. She can walk around, and the washroom is attached. The understanding was that these were teenager pregnancies. They were tribal. But interestingly, my study had to stop because they insisted that they will not deliver with 3 mothers in one room. This is what they preferred. And they were very happy about it, which was a different case scenario. So my next will be intervention is physiological versus delayed cord clamping. Now, before I go there, can I request to all of you that even if the government of West Bengal or government of India does not, can we spare some time, convert our labor rooms where a mother gets a privacy, even animals get it. And the more the privacy is, the hypothalamus will stimulate the pituitary, posterior pituitary to secrete oxytocin. And this oxytocin is physiological. And so the labor pain will not be so in, and the labor progression will be good. কিন্তু আপনারা যদি বকে দেন মাকে, তাহলে the hypothalamic will stop the pituitary, adrenal will come out, mother is stressed, and labor pain will stop. And then you will write on your note that failure of progression of labor, and so you want to do a C-section. I would say just by creating a room with comfort, with birth companion, where she can walk, you would prevent 90% of the deliveries going to your neonatal ICU, or even more. So the next is physiological versus delayed cord clamping. Now, all of you know that the WHO says that you must delay for 1 minute. The American Academy of Pediatrics says you cut the cord after 30 seconds. And the NICE guidelines say you can do it within 1 to 3 minutes. Now, this is what everyone says, and there's no uniform recommendation. The WHO says not earlier than 1 minute. Then the neonatal resuscitation 7th edition says at least 30 to 60 seconds, helping babies breathe 1 to 3 minutes. American College of Obstetrician 30 to 60 seconds, the same. Now, I try to understand that what is physiological cord clamping? And so my first observation was that the placenta does not come out uniformly for every baby. Now, while I was talking to the Jerva tribe, one of the Jerva mothers, when I said, why do you cut the cord after the placenta comes out? She said, why don't you ask this question to nature? That why does the placenta comes out later and the baby comes out earlier? And that was a change in my attitude. I started thinking, instead of asking question to Lancet or WHO, or for that matter, anyone, we should ask question to nature. And the answer of it was very interesting, that the placenta provides you, through the umbilical vein, dissolved oxygen. And when the baby is born, for the first time, it breathes not oxygen, but air. And this is not dissolved. So it will go into the alveoli and then diffuse into the blood. And then it will go by the pump to the cell. Now, in case of child's birth, the mother tells the child, till you establish your respiration, I will continue to support you. And this is a wonderful paper which shows that if you cut after 1 minute, the child is not that pink, but the placenta is pink, and this blood will go down the drain. If you cut after 2 minutes, both are pink. But after 3 minutes, the baby is becoming pink and the placenta. Now, people thought that this extra blood can cause polycythemia, will cause more jaundice, but it was not to be so. In fact, this blood was made by nature for the baby. Why did we stop it from going? And one of the reasons why Americans cut it after 30 seconds, because there's cord banking. At least the ICMR in India has clearly said that cord banking doesn't help people. See, if there are stem cells, these were meant for the baby. Please allow it to go. There was a wonderful paper because people said, and including WHO, that once there is a cessation of pulsation, you can cut the cord because no blood is going. But ladies and gentlemen, blood does not, oxygenated blood does not go to the baby through the umbilical artery, which is muscular, where you can feel the pulsation. It goes through the umbilical vein, which has no pulsation. And so this paper by Boyer, he concludes the umbilical flow is unrelated to cessation of pulsation, and using this as a time point for cord clamping should be reconsidered. Incidentally, before reading this paper, I myself had put a Doppler and seen that at least in India, till the baby establishes the respiration, the blood continues to flow. That's how nature. And this cannot be done by milking, because you can milk the blood but not toxins. This was one of the initial papers, and though I was outside West Bengal, let me be very honest with you, I was mentally always attached to this place. And from there, I contacted IPGMER and I said, I'm going to do this study at 2 places. And so the study was cutting the cord after 1 minute versus cutting after the placenta comes out. So it is not time bound. It is physiological. That's how I define physiological. So is delaying cord clamping until placenta delivery beneficial? And we found that within 5 minutes, if you don't cut the cord, you reach 90%. This was earlier paper. It was not randomized controlled trial. Though the government of India issued a guideline, it was opposed. Then Dr. Narayan Jana at Chitranjan Sevasadan, he did this study. But unfortunately, this study could not be published because this was an RCT trial and he forgot to get that itself registered. So by the time the study was completed, which was very beautiful study, very well designed, as you know, the regulations don't allow you to publish any study till you have registered at least for randomized controlled trial. So what was the study? This was comparing active management of third stage of labor, AMTSL, with cord clamping at 1 minute of birth versus post-placental oxytocin administration. So oxytocin was also administered after the placenta came out, and the clamp was also clamped after the placenta came out. And what did it conclude? The post-placental cord clamping practices appear to be better for the baby due to a smoother cardiopulmonary transition with higher SpO2 and a more stable heart rate rhythm. And the timing of oxytocin administration after placental delivery had no significant effect on the rate of PPH among the low-risk baby and is safe. This is the study which got the gold medal from one of our students who did a 3-arm study, all 3 randomized controlled trial. The blue is physiological. And again, let me tell you, physiological means cutting the cord after the placenta has come out. So there's no time fixed. Whenever the placenta will come out, you are going to. And how long did we wait it? In our study, we said we'll wait it till 15 minutes. And the second one was cutting the cord at 1 minute, which has been told by the WHO. And the other green one was cutting the cord at 3 minutes. And we didn't do any post hoc corrections. So if a baby was designed to be cut at cord at 3 minutes, even if the placenta came out, we clamped the cord only after 3 minutes. What did it found? The mean SpO2 in the first 10 minutes was way out higher, even when you cut the cord at 3 minutes or 1 minute, showing that perhaps nature wanted it, that the placenta should come on later, so that till the baby establishes the respiration by taking in air and then oxygen diffusion and then oxygen delivered to the cell, this support should continue by the mother. And that is why the cord length is 40 centimeter, because the distance from the uterus to outside is just 40 centimeter. Now, the rational use of uterotonics and their effect on newborn brain, a very controversial issue, but please remember that SNCUs cannot be the answer, because we need to prevent them from going to SNCUs. So this I will take some time, and I will ask you to please bear with me. I know it's getting late, but this concept needs to be understood, not only for the sake of your practice, but for the sake of your own children. Now, here you find that the uterine artery is carrying the blood, and this has got a pressure, oxygen pressure of 100 millimeter of mercury, and the uterine vein, which is the blood coming back of the mother's side, is containing 40 millimeters. So 60 millimeter of oxygen gets dissolved into a lake, which is like an FRC. And this lake, some finger-like projections are floating into it. And here comes the newborn blood. So the newborn blood and the mother's blood, they never contact each other. But here there's a very interesting thing. The uterine artery passes through the myometrium. That means this 100 millimeter of mercury, if the myometrium contracts, no oxygen will go into the intervilli space, which is the mother's side. So whatever oxygen has dissolved in there will allow some oxygen to flow on the baby's side. But so why did nature do this? Now let's see the baby's side. The baby's side, the deoxygenated blood is coming through the umbilical artery, which carries a pressure of 20 millimeter of mercury. It comes close to this lake, and it takes some oxygen, which diffuses and returns back with a pressure of 30 millimeter of mercury. So remember, umbilical artery 20, umbilical vein 30, a gain of 10, uterine artery 100, uterine vein 40, loss of 60. Now, the question was that if the myometrium contracts, after, it's like pinching your nose and not allowing you to breathe. How long can I pinch your nose, or how long can I contract the myometrium so that the baby's blood or your PO2 doesn't happen? Now, all of you know that pinching your nose can be just a joke if you leave it an appropriate period of time. And when you pinch your nose, your PA2 doesn't change because you have a functional residual capacity. Similar functional residual capacity is in the umbilical blood, the intervilli space. So, how long will it last? It only lasts for 60 seconds. That means after 60 seconds, if the myometrium contraction continues, the baby is losing out on oxygen. It's getting distressed. Now, what did nature do about it? Interestingly, the oxytocin released from the brain of the mother is always pulsatile. And even at the peak of contraction, it disappears after 60 seconds. So just like your heart has a systole and a diastole, and a systole of the heart is only 1/3 of the diastole, and diastole allows filling, similarly, the same thing happens to the uterus. So it contracts by the oxytocin only for 1 minute, but for 3 minutes it will relax. So I have already told this, and you could have understand, very similar to what happens in the alveolar gas exchange, the same thing is happening here. Now, you know the physiologically that there's a negative pressure which allows the subatmospheric pressure to go inside. So the diaphragm is pulled out down the intercostal muscles. So there is a negative pressure, and this negative pressure then is countered by the subatmospheric pressure entering it. So this is negative ventilation. That's normal. And respiration is not breathing. So some people get very confused that the child has not cried. That means there's no respiration. Please understand, the respiration is a word which means ventilation, gas exchange, gas transport, and going right up to the cell. And so there is a word called cellular respiration, where in the mitochondria, the Krebs cycle and the glycolysis is going to take place. So even if the child is not breathing, but the cord is intact, oxygen is going to the baby, respiration is going on. So the mere absence of breathing is not absence of respiration. And this finally was understood by WHO in their BGOG 2022. They said if the uterine contraction is for more than 60 seconds or the contraction is more than 5 per 10 minutes, stop all uterotonic drugs. Stop oxytocin, remove prostaglandin, give terbutaline. And I would tell you, as neonatologists, please insist in the labor room that there should be a clear-cut understanding that if the contraction is more than 1 minute, then immediately stop all the uterotonic drugs and give the tocolytic drugs, which can also be nitroglycerin. So you could use glyceryl trinitrate, you could use nifedipine, you could use terbutaline. All this you use in coronary spasms, you can also use. What if we don't do it? And this is a beautiful paper. If you don't do it, the uterotonic drug and birth asphyxia, are they related? And there are two papers which says oxytocin use associated with an increased prevalence of neonatal encephalopathy. We are in great hurry to have the child. And I don't worry because our labor room has been designed in such a way that you are like a station master. So you want the delivery to be quickly completed. The second paper was augmentation of labor was associated with increased emergency C-section, increased risk of bag and mask ventilation, increased low Apgar scores, and increased neonatal deaths. Now the neonatal deaths evolving stage. So now that we have understood that even if the baby is not breathing and some oxygen is going from the umbilical vein, why should we cut the cord and then resuscitate? But for that, we'll have to build a trolley which, without cutting the cord, can go. So instead of cutting the cord and then taking the baby, during which time there's no support, you have to walk 4, 5 steps or 10 steps, depending upon where is your baby corner and mother corner, a concept which I think is totally flawed. Because why should you want to keep the baby and the mother separately when it is just because one domain is of obstetrician and one the neonatologist. But when we made this trolley, and this trolley is patented in India by us, and if all of you agree, at least I can get one trolley for here, because this allows that this height can get adjusted. This can move 360 degree, very light trolley. It can warm, it can humidify, that you don't need to cut the cord. So you can resuscitate while the oxygen is also coming from the cord, which is known as intact cord resuscitation. Our first study was an open label parallel group randomized control track, intact cord versus immediate cord. The results were too encouraging. Then we built this trolley in which we loaded everything. And then I'll show you the videos in which the mother, while the C-section is going on, the baby has been given to the mother while the sutures are still going on. And in such cases, this 1 hour of keeping the baby with the mother was extremely useful for later on. These are two, I can show the videos later on. Now, here I will pause and say, zero separation, all of you have heard, but there are 9 stages. And you should keep the mother and the baby at least for an hour. The stage will start with a cry and it will end with the sleep. But in between the cry and the sleep, there are so many things which the baby will do. So it will first cry, then it will be pensive, resting, then it will show some activity, then it will be first awakening, then activity, then again there will be a rest, and then there will be a breast crawl. It will find the nipple, put it, and then again it will be familiarizing with the mother's breast, and lastly it would go off to sleep. Now this 1 hour, I think will cut away all your problems regarding early breastfeeding, continuing breastfeeding at 6 months. You can try it out. I did it with wonderful results. And this is a huge neurocognitive resultant. Remember, the baby knows only one person before he is born, and that is the mother. So, some gaps in philosophies on NRP. Now, again, as I tell you, my dictum is nothing is sacrosanct, nothing is Bible. You need to question. So, this was a wonderful paper from Sub Saharan. They found that 75.5% of the children, as soon as they are born, within 4 seconds, they start taking their respiration. And 93% will breathe within 30 seconds. So, about three quarters are going to breathe immediately as you are still drying within 4 seconds. By 30 seconds, 93% would have taken, and their heart rate was 150. So, about 22% did not show respiratory effort after drying. And then, as you were drying, 15% again started breathing. 7% do not breathe. You have to give mag and mask. Again, 4.5% will start breathing. After 141 seconds, 2% babies will be admitted to an ICU, of which 0.4% is going to die. And some will be classified as stillbirth or birth within 30 minutes. So, with this, what is the guideline today say? Remember, all this target is by 10 minutes you should reach 90%, and our entire NRP is based on the respiration. So it says start PPV if adequate respiratory effort or heart rate less than 100. But supposing it is or, that means even if the heart rate is more than 100, but there's inadequate respiratory effort, you have to start positive pressure ventilation. Now, positive ventilation may not be a very good thing because both low carbon dioxide and high carbon dioxide both can cause brain damage. So, after the initial steps, you are supposed to see for apnea, gasping respiration, heart rate less than 100. And if there is apnea, even if the heart rate is more than 100, you would start. But the European Resuscitation Council 2021 came out with a line which was very, very interesting. First of all, it said delayed cord clamping can optimize condition in preterm. But what is it said? Assess breathing and heart rate, but a fast heart rate indicates adequate oxygenation. Now, this line struck up with me. That means that if I can somehow know the correct heart rate within 5 to 10 seconds, I could wait, because if there's a fast heart rate, that would be good. So we started understanding how should we record the heart rate. So we found the answer is by ECG, but it takes about 45 seconds to do an ECG. Pulse oximeter is not only it underestimates, but it takes more than a minute. And manual counting, etc., can be huge mistakes. So our first study at AIMS under one of my students did it, that the blue bar is what you are seeing is the pulse oximeter ECG and the heart rate, and the pink one is showing the ECG heart rate. Now, if you see the minutes, in the first 5 or almost 10 minutes, the red bar or the pink bar was more than the blue bar, telling that the heart rates were higher in the ECG as compared to pulse oximetry. This seems to be very interesting, because if the pulse oximeter with a proper Plathis graph is showing a heart rate of 100, well, actually the heart rate could be 120 or 130. So we modified it, and this work I cannot take the credit. Vimesh, one of our students who has now done his DM from Gujarat, he said, sir, why can't we stick to all the 3 electrodes and paste it at one bow? This will take less time. So this was the modification which he did. And then we found that comparing pulse rate measurement in newborns using conventional and dry electrode ECG. So that was the time when I contacted Norwegians, and they said they are coming out with dry electrode ECG where you don't have to stick. Good that it is wet, and it gives you a heart rate within very reliable ECG heart rate within 2 seconds. So we asked them to give it to us, and we found this is known as neobeat, and it gave a very reliable signal. So this is the neobeat. You have just to put it, and we changed our resuscitation bag with a pip and a peep wall again, and with a manometer. So this is in the trolley. Our first study was intact cord resuscitation using heart rate as a primary driver versus standard resuscitation among vaginally born term and late preterm requiring resuscitation. Now, in this study, we wanted to understand that if I get a heart rate, even if there is no respiration, but the cord has not been cut, no breathing, not respiration, the heart rate is good, can we wait even after the primary drive? Or if the heart rate is very less, why should we do the initial steps? Why shouldn't we intubate and start the respiration? Because this would be stillbirth. Now, this is what total delivery of 1041, more than 35 weeks of 544. We randomized them, and we found that there was no breathing in 17 of the babies. But out of this, the 7 had heart rate less than 100. So we immediately gave PPV. But in others, the heart rate was more than 100, and we waited till 75 seconds. And by this time, their respiration also got established. So PPV, out of the 17 cases, 10 cases were prevented. And remember, giving extra PPV means that your carbon dioxide washout can be there, and it can lead to brain damage. So the 10 neonates had no respiratory efforts at 30 seconds. Now, I think that we did this study. We have now a software, but I want all this to be done in Calcutta. After this is my birthplace, and all of you are working here. Why should this get printed from some other state? Now, I would stop here because there are more, and it's quite late at night. I would just feel, should I continue or should I stop?
Please continue. Please continue.
Okay. So this child was born, and as you can see, his heart rate, though was less than 100, the cord was intact. This was a C-section done, and I'll show you the video. And then we waited. Now, once the placenta came out, this is C-section, then they clamped the cord. As soon as the clamp cord, it again dipped, and then we started giving vertical self-inflating bag. Now, this child was 30 weeks, and we did not need him to keep it in the ICU. It was 39 weeks, 2759 grams, absolutely. So is it possible? Just have a word thought process that instead of thinking that a child did not cry, if the cord is intact, that means there is no respiration. Is a wrong word. Perhaps if you cut the cord, then obviously there's only one source of oxygen. But the baby is getting two sources. One, he's breathing, and which is breathing air and not oxygen. And the oxygen which the mother is supplying through the umbilical vein, ladies and gentlemen, this is ECMO oxygen. This is already dissolved oxygen. You remember during the COVID days, when the diffusion process because of the ARDS was not happening, conventional ventilators were failing, and we had to use ECMO. Now, when you were weaning out from ECMO, there was a time when you had to run both the ECMO as well as the normal ventilation. So I think nature was providing ECMO oxygen, dissolved oxygen. And here you have to first open up the alveoli, then push the oxygen into the blood, and so on. So the second part of my research was vertical bag versus horizontal. The study was already done in UP, but I wanted to see further. Again, if all of you are interested, Ladle has a non-commercial Ladle Foundation. I have requested them that through the IIP, through the government of West Bengal, why can't we have a Ladle Innovation Center here? Because it helped me. Imagine when I went there to Jodhpur, there was only 4-bedded. And now there are a lot of things which is happening. And so If Jodhpur can have it, I think the first claim should come of West Bengal, though this country is one, but still, this is my birthplace. So this is a ladle. And what did it show? If there's a vertical bag, it helps to deliver better tidal volume. You would say, why? Now look at the design. There's a 90-degree turn. Now here the principle of lever comes. And when I talked in Norway about this, the engineers at Ladle Company, they loved it, and also University of Oslo. Because whenever there's a 90-degree change and when you are pumping, there's a tendency for force multiplier to come out. So you have to hold it very strongly. Whereas in case of vertical bag, you can hold very lightly without creating any pressure and give better tidal volume. So this 220 ml resuscitation, we got it from them and we started, and all my residents got converted. So we did another study, upright self-inflating bag, and which I converted. Ladle didn't do. We put a PEEP and also a PIP valve. We compared this with the T-piece resuscitator. Now remember, T-piece resuscitator will cost you about close to 1 lakh, and also you require central oxygen piping. Whereas an upright self-inflating bag with PEEP and with PIP, which we attached, this would be available in 20,000, even lesser than this. So our study was resuscitating using upright self-inflating bag with PEEP valve versus T-piece resuscitator in cesarean section, born infants greater than 20. It was a non-inferiority RCT trial. And we were trying to look at duration required to reach heart rate more than 100 and 90% and difference in Apgar score. What we very interestingly found that the T-piece resuscitator can deliver the desired pressure more accurately, but requires greater time to increase the PEEP from 20 to 40. So if you started with 20 and you want to increase it to 40, or from 40 you want to increase still further, because the lung is not expanding, it takes more time. But with the vertical bag, it takes much lesser time to change. So what we said, that if you have both, then start yourself with vertical bag, and once you know what pressures are required, you can shift to T-piece. So T-piece is much costlier. T-piece needs a continuous flow of gases, and administering PP with TPR needs extensive training. There's a live-born application. We are also doing some work on NIRS monitoring, and I all want this work to be done in Kolkata. And I wish that before I leave this planet, I should see, and I don't want any name, nothing. All of you can take it, but let it be there. Let the mothers of West Bengal be rewarded with it. This was a beautiful thing, again, a video which will show it in some time, where I told my student, we built in 2 NICUs with same machines, same equipments. And I said that in one, even if the baby is on ventilator, the mother's bed will be next to it. And the other, the mother will come and give KMC, etc. once the baby stabilizes, or it can come early. Initially, there was a lot of resistance from my colleagues, from the nursing staff, but we did it. Surprisingly, we were measuring the head circumference of all preterm babies, and the result was too much. If the mother was with the baby, the head circumference was much, much higher as compared to the NIC. And I was very surprised. I thought my student is doing some mistake. So one night I went, and frequently I used to visit at night, but this night I said, I'll not teach, I'll just observe. So I kept in both the rooms. And interestingly, a Rajasthani mother who was not educated told one of the residents, my baby is sleeping. Could you prick him after some time? And I got my answer. See, whenever you were at home, and those who are parents, you would recall that when you would come after, let's say, this lecture, and you would like to talk to your child, and your child has already gone to sleep, but you would like to wake him up and talk to him because you have not seen him for 24 hours, the mother would say, no, don't interrupt. And you know what was the answer? The entire brain growth happens in REM and NREM state. So when I started doing neonatal EEG, I found a wonderful thing. Actually, the mother is saving the brain, and the sepsis rate came down. Everyone thought these illiterate mothers would increase the sepsis rate. It decreased. So the effect of mother newborn died level 3 NICU, which we call MNICU, on outcomes of preterm neonates less than 32 week, less than 1500 gram, compared to conventional level 3 with routine kangaroo mother care. So we found that the head circumference at 40 weeks was 1.4 times higher as compared to the conventional NICU teams, which means more cognition, including the death rate was lesser, and also the sepsis rate was much less. This was our study, and the chances of improvement was huge. We also built a model early intervention center where all children will be followed till the 6 years. This is not a regular follow-up. This follow-up has been totally designed. I will go through the entire pictures. There's a neonatologist, optometrist, audiologist, periodontist, therapist, technicians, prosthetics. So all our follow-up till the age of 6 years, till the brain is formed. And the follow-up has been divided. All babies less than 1,000 grams, how are they doing? How babies between 1,000 and 1,200 gram doing? And the end point is 6 years. At that time, they're all the sensory organs, including the cognition. So thank you. I will like also to, if I can show you the videos. Let me see if I can show you the videos. I do not know because today my computer was creating some problem. So the videos was not coming. But I think I can, yeah. So I think, have I made a mistake? You are screen sharing. Wait a minute. Are you able to see the entire thing?
Yes, yes, we can now hear the beep.
No, can you see it also?
No,
You can't see. Okay, wait a
but
minute.
we can hear the cry.
No, no, no. The cry is not important. Wait a minute. Let me, I think my advisor has to be, then you have to say screen and okay, entire screen.
Aditya, can you head Professor Singh? Aditya, are you there? The tech team,
Yes, sir.
please
I have
Professor.
put the entire screen. Okay. And
Okay.
then I am coming to my video file. And
So your audio is not playing in the video, sir?
No, we can
no,
see
no.
the videos. Please help him to run the video.
Is it okay? So let me just show you the
Can
is the video are you now able to see the video?
No.
no, sir.
So what should I do to get it? I stop share.
Aditya, can
I
you
I
help?
need to again go back to share, click the entire screen, then the application window.
No, sir. You can share the entire screen, sir. That should be okay, sir, because that video will play if you
Okay,
share the
now
entire
is it
screen.
playing?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah,
Now it
yeah,
is
yeah.
playing, sir. Yes.
So
Perfect.
just see, this is the 30-weeker preterm which is going to be born. This is our intact cot trolley, and we are going to receive the baby, which we know are going to be limp. So my DM student now, he has passed, Dr. Mujaffar. he will receive the baby. So this is a C-section where the CTG showed that the baby is asphyxiated, there is a bradycardia, and is just 30 weaker. So now the baby is coming out. They are not going to cut the cord. You are seeing that someone is standing. My nursing staff is standing with the neo beat. He has just to put it in the chest. He's also having the pulse oximeter. The baby has come out. There is no activity, very small baby. We just have put the neo beat, and the neo beat is showing now the heart rate. And the heart rate is less than 100. So since the cord has not been cut, the 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 my resident is quite uh, satisfied that okay, I don't need to do it. We are attaching the pulse oximeter on the leg. There's no respiration. He has done the suction, etc. The heart rate is less than 100, but it's not falling down. Now, after doing the initial steps, which, as you know, the NRP doesn't allow you to do it in this case, it's a preterm baby, but we can see the heart rate, and child is not yet taken any breath. Now, they have decided to do the bag and mask vertical. Yeah, the heart rate is 71. It was 65 for some time. So this is our designed vertical bag with a PIP and PEEP valve. Now see, the cord is still there. As soon as the placenta will cut, the obstetric stream is going to clamp the cord. And I will tell you exactly when it is cut. Oh, the heart rate is falling down. It's 56, 53. Again, it has increased 64, 72, 74. Now they are going to cut the cord. The placenta has come out. See, here is the clamping. They have clamped on both the sides, and this is how the cord has been removed. And now the baby heart rate is 154, 153, 149. This is the intact cord trolley where we didn't cut the cord. The trolley went close. And then what happened next? So the next you saw that the whole, I think, yeah. So this baby I showed you on the image that it was discharged without getting admitted to the NIC. I will show you another one with the intact cord resuscitation. Are you able to show the screen? Sorry, this you have already seen. Okay, this is very interesting. The head has come out. Now, my earlier residents would have just pulled out the baby. This is in Baroda Medical College. I'm demonstrating. See the rotation of the head by its own. The baby has not cried. No one is going to pull out. There was a weak cough, but no sustained cry. How is the baby getting oxygen? Through the umbilical cord. So we'll wait for the next contraction. No respiration. Now see the cry. This is not a shrill cry. See, the child has come out. We are not going to cut the cord. We have not given oxytocin. The child is kept on the mother's breast. This itself will release oxytocin. See, no one pushed the child. The mother was not told push. This was when they were not believing it. This video was made in Baroda Medical College, which is a government medical college. And after this, 10,000 deliveries has been done. Now, I will show you the placenta coming out. So now you see, no one is pulling out the placenta. That was the study which was also done by Dr. Narayan Jana. The baby is on the mother's. You don't have to do anything. Just wait, the placenta will come out by itself. See, the placenta is coming out. Yes, you don't have to pull. Okay, so I think you have seen this. I will now show you this is the mother NICU. Even if the baby is on ventilator, this entire unit was made in less than 2 years. So this is mother NICU. And we also found a drop rate which we are going to monitor in children coming back. The concept is right from the admission. Even the gynecologist comes here to see the mother or the obstetrician. These are separate rooms for less than 1,000. So this is the study which we were doing both with the ECG as well as with the neobeats. And this is our this even if there is this is a very interesting thing which I didn't speak. I checked the composition of the amniotic fluid. It is same as ringer lactate. We started giving bath with ringer lactate at the same temperature as the mother's womb. So I'm not saying to give a bath to every child. I'm saying to give a bath with the amniotic fluid. And the composition is exactly. These are twins, and you should see how much they enjoy, how much there is a buoyancy in the movement. Of course, the guidelines which have been written is from close to North Pole. We are sitting between Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. We will have to find out. So it took a lot of time for my residents who had done their MD from AIMS and PGI to agree to this. But once they started enjoying it, this is a practice. And I would ask you to kindly see it for yourself, and things like this, you can enjoy it. I think I will just tell you a very interesting thing. One of my DM residents, she said, how to make my child intelligent. She had just delivered. I said, send it to your village home. This is a 19-month-old child. Both the parents are doctors. And this child was sent to the grandparents who had a farm. I think instead of teaching them A for apple, this is how. And no wonder the village would be And he also knows how to feed the child, how to feed the cows. Say, I wish I had such a place where I could take all children who were born in flat cultures and didn't enjoy. This child doesn't see any smart TV, doesn't see this, really understands where the food is coming from. And there are a lot of videos which Ramandeep, her mother, who did the DM, uh, gave it to me. So I think I will end here. And what can I say? This is uh, we have designed a dental car video. So all children and 70% of the preterm children, including the children of our consultants, had caries, and caries can impact cognition. So this car was built again in India, designed by us, which is this thing. So you can see the children love to enjoy it. There is music, there is thing. So they don't cry. So we don't have to give any kind of sedation anesthesia. The same thing is also with our MRI. So I stop here. Uh, Thank you very much. I think I have taken more than the time which all of you wanted. Yes, please. Any
Thank,
questions?
thank you, sir, for your excellent presentation. I think everybody is mesmerized, and we wanted to continue much more. And hope Kaustubda is there. Kaustubda, are you there? Because he was on in the journey. No, Kaustubda is not there, but I hope had he been there, that implementations in PG hospital would have been much more easier. But I am promising you, because Professor Rejaul Karim is also there. I can see Lavan now. So I'll request him to please take a vote that we will do it in SSKM hospital. We must do it.
Yeah, just a word. I just found the message of Dr. Arun Manglik, one of the few persons. And sir, it is because of you that I have come back. Because he was one person who sent me a message that your student got the gold medal.
Aditya, unmute Arun Manglik, sir. Aditya, take him. Please unmute Arun Manglik, sir. Take him, are you there? Hello.
हाँ, उनको अनम्यूट करना होगा.
Let me try.
I think
No. Take him, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, unmute Dr. Arun Manglik.
Sir, I'm sorry. Whom, sir?
Arun
Arun Manglik.
Manglik.
You can see on the
Manglik, sir.
screen.
Yes, sir. Sir, I've sent him a request to unmute, sir.
Yeah, he's
You
unmuted.
unmute all. Now you unmute all.
Okay, shall I give the permission, right?
Yeah.
Done, sir.
Yeah.
Done.
So really, it was mesmerizing to say the least. Wonderful, and I remember having gone to the NICU at SSKM for a visit, and I spent about an hour with you, looking
Yes,
just I'm really fond of you. I really fell in
thank
love
you,
with
sir.
that NICU at SSKM at that point of time. It was more than 15 years ago. Well, it was a great talk, and the way you can talk and talk and talk, and without people getting bored. Half the time people, this attention span is usually not more than 45 to 60 minutes. At best, 45 minutes or so. But you can keep people held on. That's really great. Thanks a lot for your talk, and thanks, Shopun, for organizing it.
Thank you, Arunda. So I can see Dr. Atanu Bhadra is there. Arunda, he is that person who can give the shape of your dream. So Atanu, please.
Uh, what to say? Actually, sir, your concept, I don't know how we have heard it so often, at least thrice, if I remember correctly. But unfortunately, we are in the same boat. We are in the same point of time where you left us in the last day. We haven't, even we know that what you are saying is correct, but we have not been able to implement it not significantly, at least in our state or in the country also, but probably in some places, Baroda, where you I think work. So now it is left to us to work and find out ways how to implement whatever we are hearing from you, because we know in our heart of hearts that what you are saying, what we have proved it, and we know that it is true. So only
Thank
it's a matter of time before we can start implementing, rather than implementing, at least we should start implementing it. Thank you, sir. And I would welcome you to our National Pedicon in 25 January in Calcutta. So let's see
Thank
how much of it we can project
Thank
so that a wider audience is given to that.
Yeah. But
Thank you.
just to tell all of you that these neopites, etc., I'm talking to Ladle to bring it to Calcutta, and let's use it. It will really help you, all of you.
Okay. So, Lavanya, can you tell Rajaul Karim sir? Lavanya, unmute yourself. Lavanya was listening to your
Acha, acha.
lecture. Lavanya, unmute yourself. Lavanya. So,
আমি এর মধ্যে একটা লাইন বলে নেব।
yes, yes, yes,
হ্যাঁ
yes.
হ্যাঁ
অরুণ স্যার, আমি তো ডিসিশন মেকার নই, ডিসিশন মেকাররা সামনে রয়েছে, ওরা আপনার যা করার করবে, কিন্তু আমার একটা ছোট্ট অ্যাপিল আছে আপনার কাছে, আবার কবে আপনি এরকম বলবেন আমরা বসে বসে শুনবো, কিছু জানতে পারবো।
না না, আমি তো এখন
এটা
তোমাদের
আমার
মধ্যেই
অ্যাপিল
আছি।
রইল,
না না, কিছু
আজকে যা
অ্যাপিল করতে
শুনলাম
হবে
এ
না, তোমার
বলার নয়।
অধিকার আছে। সি, ইউ ক্যান আস্ক ফর ইট, অধিকার আছে। ঠিক
থ্যাংক ইউ
আছে,
স্যার, থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার।
Lavanya, unmute কর।
হ্যাঁ, yes, sir.
আরে আমি শুনেছি পুরোটা,
হ্যাঁ, এই তো রেয়া আছে তো।
আমি পুরোটাই শুনেছি। আহ, অরুণ অরুণ সিং সম্পর্কে আমার কিছু বলা উচিত না, বিকজ আই এম অলরেডি বায়াসড, আই এম ভেরি ভেরি বায়াসড অ্যাবাউট হিম। এন্ড হি, ওনার লেকচার একবার কেউ শুনলে তার নেশা হয়ে যাবে। এই দুটো বাচ্চা শুনছে এবং আমি এদের চোখ মুখে দেখছি তো। I am also in teaching profession without any purpose, and this is the only person I always admire, and probably he is one of the best brain now in India. Unfortunately, we could not materialize the Institute of Perinatology that was planned, that was declared by the Honorable Chief Minister, but it didn't happen. Uh, I had a very small part about it, and I'm very sorry that in spite of repeated efforts, it did not materialize. We couldn't start the things that Dr. Singh wanted and implemented in Gujarat. I'm very surprised that it is implemented in Gujarat, but not in the most progressive state of the country. And his labor room concept, his 1,000 days slogan, and when he was writing those papers, I was a very occasional visitor to him, and I found him how much trouble he can take himself when he had no income. You know, people forget that he didn't have a fixed income also, because government of India did not pay him during that time. And when I requested him to come back to Kolkata, and fortunately the administration also remained proactive for a certain period of time. Probably, I'm very sorry to say, but election is knocking at the door, and Arun Singh will once again be called very soon, today or tomorrow, because his work is pioneering, and it should come to Bengali newspaper as well. He has shown Hindi newspaper, he has shown English newspaper, Times of India, but it should come to Anandabazar also. Unfortunately, I could not convince the who's who of Anandabazar Patrika, the one of the senior most sub editor I know, but they didn't publish a single line. That's the problem. Anyhow, thank you very much, Shapan, for giving me this opportunity, because I occasionally speak with him, but I was not aware of this program. It's really very, very good for me, for entire family members, including my daughter who was abroad. She came back only last night, and she also heard it. And another person from Goa also is my son-in-law. He also heard, and they are not doctors, but still they enjoyed it very much. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Now you have got a robust job to shape the dream of Orunda a reality. So
স্বপন স্বপন
Kaustubh will be
আমি একটু
there.
ইন্টারাপ্ট করছি
হ্যাঁ
আমি
হ্যাঁ
একটু
বলুন।
ইন্টারাপ্ট করছি আজ থেকে না এটা অরুণদার ড্রিম বলাটা বন্ধ করে দাও, তাহলে কাজ হবে না। Let's say, why can't it be
Our dream.
IAP's dream?
Okay.
Forget
Yes,
about.
yes.
You see, the problem is with the individual. The problem is not with the collective. What I think Bengal misses out is the collective. So forget Arun Singh. People, but let it be the dream of all of you. If you all try, somewhere, someplace it will be done. So, this thing of projecting me, that creates a
Okay, okay, I
problem.
understood.
I didn't understand it till quite late that personal projections have their own problems. So, for a moment, let's forget that personal projection. If you people are convinced, then it is your knowledge. It's no longer mine. You want my slides, you want everything, it's there. You want to do studies, I will support. But let it be your talk. Why can't it be talk of Arun Manglik? Why can't we talk of Champak? Why it can't be talk of Samir Das? Everyone, it is their understanding. Truth is not belonging to anyone. Truth is a universal thing. If it is truth, then we will take it up. So let the IIP West Bengal gain in momentum.
Thank you. We'll do it. Champak da.
আমি কিছুদিন আগে তখন সরি আমার গলার অবস্থা খুবই খারাপ। আমি কিছুদিন আগে ডক্টর অরুণ সিং এ মিস করেছি। আমি তখন বাইরে ইজিপ্টে ঘুরছিলাম, আমাকে দেখি হঠাৎ কল করছে। এনিওয়ে আই ক্যান মিট হিম দ্যাট টাইম। ও মুর্শিদাবাদে উনি এসেছিলেন, অ্যাকচুয়ালি ও কলেজে আমার জুনিয়র। যাই হোক, উনি এসেছিলেন, আমাকে কলও করেছিলেন। আই কুডন্ট মিট হিম, তখন পেডিকনও চলছিল ওদিকে। যাই হোক, মিস করে গেছি। এরপরে আমরা এলে পরে লোকালাইজ দিয়ে তো আমরা এইসব গুলো করবো, অ্যাক্টিভিটিস গুলো, এইসব ব্যাপারে আমি খুবই অ্যাক্টিভ, সবাই জানো। তা এনিওয়ে, রিয়েলি আমাদের আইপি থেকে এটাকে হোল্ড করে রাখা উচিত, এবং এইটাকে আমরা, কারণ 1000 days তো আমরা আগে প্রজেক্ট করেছি, এগুলোকে যদি আরো করে দেওয়া যায়। বিভিন্ন কলেজ হচ্ছে, প্রচুর নতুন ছেলে মেয়েরা আসছে এখন। আমরা তো সত্যি বড়দের দলে এখন, স্টিল এগুলো প্রজেক্ট করলে খুবই কাজ হবে। অতনু এখানে আছে, অতনু ভদ্র আছে, কৃপা সিন্ধু আছে, আগামী দিনে তোমরা তো অবশ্যই এগুলোকে ভাববে। এগুলোকে ন্যাশনাল আইপি লেভেলে যাতে নিয়ে যাওয়া যায়, সেটা আমি রিকোয়েস্ট করবো সবাইকে করার জন্য। তাতে আমাদের সুবিধা হবে, ভালো হবে। মানে এটা অরুণ সিং এর কাজটা প্রজেকশন পাবে, আমার এটা বক্তব্য, আর কিছু না।
Somir da. Somir da. Another senior.
আহ, আহ, না, কিছু তো বলার আর নেই। শুনছিলাম, দেখছিলাম সবকিছু। যে ট্রিমেন্ডাস এফার্ট ও নিয়েছে, করেছে কাজ, সেটার স্বীকৃতি, মানে উই আর লাকি যে সেটা নিজের মধ্যে না রেখেও সবার মধ্যে ডিস্ট্রিবিউট করতে চাইছে। মানে আমাদের তাতে পার্ট করছে। ডাব্লিউবিএপি শুড বি গ্রেটফুল টু হিম যে ও বলছে যে এটা হচ্ছে সবার কাজ, তোমরা এগো। অ্যান্ড আই অলসো বিলিভ যে এটা যদি ডাব্লিউবিএপি এবং আরো বেশি আইএপি যদি এটাতে হচ্ছে অ্যাক্টিভলি পার্টিসিপেট করে এই প্রোগ্রামটাতে, তাহলে ডেফিনেটলি উইল বি এবল টু ডু ইট। অ্যান্ড ওয়েস্ট বেঙ্গল একাডেমি অফ পিডিয়াট্রিক্স মে বি পায়োনিয়ার in this case. There is a chance, we have an opportunity to do this. এবং ডক্টর মাঙ্গলিক আছেন, আরো সিনিয়র যারা আছেন, আমরা আশা করি যে সবাই মিলে একসাথে হাত মিলিয়ে আমরা এটা করতে পারবো, ফর নট ফর আস, ফর দ্য মাদার্স অফ ওয়েস্ট বেঙ্গল, ফর দ্য ফিউচার অফ ওয়েস্ট বেঙ্গল, the future that will bring clear perspective for our state. যেখানে আমরা আগে ছিলাম সেখান থেকে অনেকটাই আমরা পেছিয়ে পড়েছি, এ সম্বন্ধে কোনো সন্দেহ নেই। যে যাই বলুক, সেই জায়গায় আমাদের আবার পৌঁছতে হবে। থ্যাংক ইউ ভেরি মাচ ডক্টর সিং, and thank you all for attending this webinar. Thank you, Shapur.
Otanu, conclude করো। Otanu, conclude remarks from you.
একটা জিনিসই আমি সাজেস্ট করব, সামনের বার যখন আমরা এটা করব, আই থিঙ্ক ইট শুড বি এ জয়েন্ট প্ল্যাটফর্ম অফ Foxy and IAP or WAP. We already have Shukantoda working on the joint platform, so we can involve them, because I think this topic is very relevant not only to us but to gynecologists also, and change should occur from there also. So সামনের বার we'll be careful that we'll do it on a joint platform. Yes. Thank you, and of course I don't want to thank Dr. Arun Singh, is someone who is much above us. So thank you for your blessing, sir. and we like to have you in all our endeavors. Thank you, sir.
না, অরুণদা তো আমাদেরই লোক। তো অরুণদাকে ধন্যবাদ জানিয়ে ছোট করবো না, শুধু বলবো যে মাথায় আশীর্বাদে হাতটা রাখবেন যাতে সত্যি করেই ওয়েস্ট বেঙ্গলকে এগিয়ে নিয়ে যাওয়া যায়। হ্যাঁ, আমাদেরই এফোর্ট হোক। তো সবাই যারা আছেন আজকের এই প্ল্যাটফর্মে সবাইকে ধন্যবাদ জানাচ্ছি যে থাকার জন্য, এবং তারা তাদের ভিউজ জানিয়েছে। ওয়েস্ট বেঙ্গল একাডেমি অফ পিডিয়াট্রিক্স ভবিষ্যতে আশা করি এটাকে নিয়ে কিছুটা এগিয়ে যেতে পারবে। আর অরুণদাকে বলবো আপনি আমাদের প্লিজ অ্যাডভাইস করুন কিভাবে আমরা মানে সমাজের কাজে আসতে পারি। সো গুড নাইট। অরুণদা, আপনার লাস্ট কনক্লুডিং ওয়ার্ড দিয়ে আমরা শেষ করব।
No, no, thank you very much. I think today the most important statement would be, we are we, not I. তো সেটা আমি কনক্লুড করে কিছু নেই, কাজ ইটসেলফ। এবং সেটা ডক্টর দাস খুব ভালো করে বলেছেন যে দিস উইল বি আওয়ার রিপেমেন্ট টু দ্য মাদার্স। তারা অনেক স্বপ্ন দেখেন, তারা অনেক কষ্ট দেখেন, সে মুর্শিদাবাদেই হন, জঙ্গলমহলেই হন, কলকাতা শহরে হন, তাদের বাচ্চারা ভালো হোক। আর আরেকটা কথা বলি যে আমরা অনেক কিছু ভুলে যাই। আমি আজকেও বলছি যে ইফ আই রিমেম্বার কারেক্টলি, প্রথম এনআইসিইউতে অক্সিজেন কনসেন্ট্রেটর গভর্নমেন্ট সেক্টরে পুরুলিয়াতে ইউজ হয়েছিল, কিন্তু পার্সোনাল সেক্টরে ডক্টর অরুণ মাঙ্গলিক ওয়াজ অলরেডি ইউজিং ইট। Am I right? But this was never
Yes,
documented. Huh?
yes, true, very true.
Yeah. And in fact, I had asked him, "Hey, what is your experience?" তো কোভিডের সময় এতগুলো অক্সিজেন কনসেন্ট্রেটর হলো, I could talk. But it is his work. So somewhere, this legacy of Professor Amitabh Sen, legacy of Dilip Mahalanavis, legacy of people like Arun Mangalik, they should be written somewhere, so that the next generation does not feel that if we don't go to AIMS or PGI, then we will not gain anything. I think that respect should be drawn back, which this country needs, and especially the state of West Bengal needs.
থ্যাংক ইউ সো মাচ। সো গুড নাইট এভরিবডি, সি ইউ সুন। ভেরি, আমি তো পরে অরুণদার সঙ্গে যোগাযোগ করেও নিচ্ছি তো আমাদের ক্লাসের জন্য। সো থ্যাংক ইউ, গুড নাইট এভরিবডি।
গুড নাইট।
তাহলে পরের ক্লাসটা ঠিক করে দিন।
হ্যাঁ, করে দিচ্ছি, করে দেবো।
গুড নাইট এভরিবডি।
Good night. Good.
ওকে, গুড নাইট।
ওকে, ওকে, গুড নাইট, গুড নাইট।